How's it going, Blazers? We're going to bring you specifications like a hand sizing chart, also using things like the Lyman pull gauge to give you specifications you can relate to so you can make an educated decision on your purchases. Back from Blade Show in Atlanta, so really good experience with that. So thank you to QSP, Quality, Service, and Price, providing me the trip to go out there, help them out with their booth, and give me a time to actually go to see Blade Show, which I probably wouldn't have done otherwise. But some of the really good things also, a place like Waffle House, I heard some bad things about it, but it was really quite good. And I ate there, I think, every breakfast. And then also going to be the Twin Smokers Barbecue. That place, they had like a family menu. It was like 4 to 6 people supposedly, but it was a lot of food. I mean, this was very good food too. Now, so check them out if you're in Atlanta, Georgia, for Twin Smokers. But this one's going to be the knife that we're going to look at today. This is a new brand to the knife industry. This is going to be the Wendigo. This is actually from Damned Designs. So they have a lot of fidget spinners, some of the other products for it, but this is going to be their first knife into the industry. So this is a prototype in S35. The actual production one is going to be in M390 for this knife here. So this is going to be the one that we're going to look at. So this is Adrian Dsouza as far as the actual designer of the knife. So it is actually built by Tuyaknife. So that's all the things that were brought out for it. So it's really going to be a good one to look at. So if you want to look at that, let's get into it. Thank you again to Dan Designs for providing this knife for the Pass Around group. This one actually is still their prototype. This is the Wendigo, and that's the name that they just came out with right before we got the knives in hand. So this is going to be one of the blade shapes that's offered. There is another one that's going to be very amazing when that comes out as well. So this is one is in S35 currently. It's going to be in M390 through Tuyaknife. So they're actually the ones that are producing this knife for them. So this is going to be a pretty good setup for the knife. And so M390, as far as the steel goes, there's quite a bit of controversy going on with M390 now with some of the heat treating. So if you look into the chart in the description, there's a link to all the testing that's been done. And there's some of the M390 that's been coming up quite a bit lower than even what they're advertising their steel at. So that's some of the heat treating issue that's going on right now. But regularly in an ideal situation, so M390 is going to be about 80th percentile for corrosion resistance, and then you're going to have a hardness level about 72 percentile, and then edge retention compared to all the other super steels out there, you're going to be about 85th percentile for that. But as far as sizing for this one, you're going to be looking at between the full-size Griptilian. That's going to be how that big that is for it, and then the code 4. Which is going to be quite a bit bigger knife, but this has a very beefy blade as well. So it's going to be something that kind of compares to it in use for the knife. And then this one actually is also for hand sizing wise, you can look at it as far as how it's going to be for adult women's hand, and then also for adult male's hand. So it is kind of in that upward position, so you can actually lay it out, print it out, and then lay your hand over to actually see where your hand's going to sit for this knife as well. So we're trying to get as much information to you as possible so you can get an idea as far as what this is going to be if you picked it up. Now this is going to be about 4.1 ounces for the knife. And then they're currently sold out of the model, and then you can sign up for the early bird special offer. So go to the website, and then you can actually do that for the knife. It goes for about $200 as far as the MSRP. Starting price. They were running a little bit of special on it for I think $180. So I don't know if that's going to be the early bird pricing still, but you can actually go and see if that is how that's going to be for the knife. So for the actual pull on it, so we're going to see as far as what the weight is for the pull. We're going to use a Lyman pull gauge for this. This is going to be in pounds. This is for that frame lock knife. So we'll see where it is as far as the actual weight it takes to actuate the flipper tab. So the flipper tab itself it takes about 3 pounds, 12.6 ounces. So about 2 to 3 pounds is pretty decent for most knives. This one actually does have a pretty good action. It really has a great sound to it. So even though there is jimping on the flipper tab, it actually doesn't really bother the finger too much. So it actually is something that works very well for the knife as far as deployment. And then it actually does have a great sound as far as the deployment as well. So hopefully that came across on the camera side for it. But Not too bad, but again, 2 to 3 pounds, fairly good. This one is a little bit higher, but it still works pretty well. And as far as fidgeting with the knife, it's not going to be any type of issue for that side. So this only has one type of deployment. So there's no thumb studs or any type of other opening. So it's just going to be only this light switch method to actually do the deployment for it. So that's one thing that might be kind of a downside to it, because it doesn't have any other way to open it up. There's no other way to grab it really to actually do even more of a traditional style of opening it. So it's going to be about a 3.38 inch Tanto blade for this model. It is a flat grind as far as the front as well as the belly of the knife. And then that's going to be how that will be for this knife. And then actually the weight or the actual thickness behind the edge for the knife here. So the belly side is going to be now somewhere about 8 sheets of paper. So that's going to be, if you take it out of your regular copy machine or copier at home, then you can actually see what that's going to be. So basically 8 sheets of paper, 32 thousandths behind the edge. And then the tip of it is going to be about 24 thousandths and about 6 sheets of paper. And then also for the ramp, as far as the degrees to get it onto the blade. So this is from basically the release actually onto the blade is about 20 degrees. So that's actually in a really good spot for the knife. So probably about 20 degrees is still really good. 30 degrees is okay. Probably 40 degrees, they probably should change something a little bit with the mechanism to actually get that on the blade a lot sooner than that. That's going to be some of the specifications for it. This is going to be a right hand tip up carry only. So this pocket clip is not reversible for the knife. And then that's going to be, now you can actually see how that will be in your pocket as well for it. And then this one also has probably about 1 pound, 12 ounces. So actually take it out of your pocket. So actually using the pull gauge as well. So actually taking it out of your pocket, it's going to be about 1 pound, 12 ounces, which really isn't bad, because even if you take out the weight of the knife, so that's going to be 1 pound, 7.5 ounces. So it actually slides in and out of the pocket fairly well for the knife. So it actually makes it really enjoyable to actually utilize and use. So since this one is not in the proper steel for it, because it's going to be an M390, I didn't do the actual sharpness test on it. But as far as some of the cutting, I did cut cardboard and everything else. And then because of the behind the edge thickness, it is an okay slicer. It's not the best, but it is something that's going to be really very good as far as a user. You're not going to be really worrying about the tip breaking off or anything else happening with it. So it cuts really well for normal use. And then also a big thing for it is there will be, at some point, is going to be a sheep's foot blade for this knife. So that's actually going to be fantastic. So I saw what it looked like as far as a rendering with this handle and then a sheep's foot blade. And I think that's going to be selling like hotcakes. So I think he's going to be actually doing a prototype of that one and then getting that one out soon after, if not before this model. And then so as far as a buy, borrow, or avoid, I would say for this one would be a buy. So in using it, handling it, and then actually even cutting with it. So that's going to be one that was really enjoyable and actually one that I would recommend to pick up. And so you can get it from the site, get onto that early bird special mailing list. And then it's really comfortable. All the edges are good, nicely rounded. Even the butt of the knife, as far as when you're actually holding it, works out really well. So very confident in hand, even with these type of grooves into the handle. It actually works really well for holding it. So if you made it to this point, so consider subscribing to the channel. Down in the your right corner, click on the subscribe button. Let me know that I'm going in the right direction with the channel. And thank you again for your time.